And joining us now to discuss new sponsorships are Greg Morris, who's CEO of Micromega, and Hassan Adams, who's chairman of Burger King South Africa. Let's start with you, Hassan, talking to us from our Cape Town studio. You're getting involved in sponsorship of SAFA. Burger King is a relatively new entrant to the South African retail market, but you're going big on sponsorship already. Tell us about it and why you've chosen to do this.
Yeah, good morning, David, and good morning to your viewers. Can I just say that, this all started after I won the World Entrepreneur, EY World Entrepreneur Award for Southern Africa in the exceptional category. I was interviewed by the judges, and one of the judges asked me when he concluded this whole interview, what would be your magic moment in life? You've done so many other things. And I said to him, for me, my magic moment would be for Bafana to win the World Cup. And everybody laughed at me, and I said, don't laugh, I mean, our president, the late great Nelson Mandela, always said, we must use sport to unite a nation. And he did that in rugby when we won the Rugby World Cup. Now, I think it's time to unite Africa by trying to focus on football and especially Bafana. I think if we can go out there and beat Spain in a friendly, and I know it was a friendly, then the ambition must be there to win a World Cup. I'm disappointed that we're not at Brazil this year, but nevertheless, that triggered the whole sponsorship to develop the youth at the level where it's needed.
Well, looking at that sponsorship, we've got a bit of information on the screen as you're speaking there, saying that you're sponsoring several tournaments. How much money are you putting in, Hassan, and how's it going to be spent?
Well, can I just say, the amount of money is a moving target, because what we have said is that we'll start off immediately by sponsoring the under-17 and the under-19 and the Banyana under-19, Banyana under-19 tournaments. Now, just yesterday, we concluded a under-19 final, which was won by Top Sport. They played against Ajax. And the under-17 about a week ago was won by Bidvest. They beat Kaizer Chiefs. Now, what is significant about these two final results, it shows you that the development of football is only at the professional soccer level. And we need to focus on all of those areas of development where it's needed, in those club structures and school structures.
I'll come back to you in a moment for a number, because we do need to know a number. In my studio in Johannesburg is Greg Morris, CEO from Micromega. Greg, how much are you going to spend on the Sharks?
It's a crisp number. It's 3.2 million this year. And then we've got an option to renew for another 2 years. That's where we are at this stage. Delighted with the sponsorship. Delighted with.
Now, it struck me with the Sharks, it's one of the strong brands in South African sport, South African rugby. It's been carefully built. It used to be the Banana Boys. It became the Sharks. It's a youngish brand, but it's very strong. Much younger, say, than the Bulls in a cultural sense, or Western Province. But they were without a sponsor for some time, which puzzled me.
I think it's challenging for all the teams. If we look at what's happened in the last 6 to 8 months in terms of general teams in South Africa securing sponsorship, I think it's been tough. And I think that's the reprioritization of corporate spend and just the sign of the times. And so these decisions have to be taken carefully. There are shareholder interests at heart. And there's that fine balance, once again, between whether one does things out of pure indulgence or whether one's doing something to add corporate value. And that's the balance we had to make.
Well, sponsorship always has to be good for business reasons, has to help you in a business sense. Were there other people bidding for this? I mean, did you have to compete?
I think I'm not too certain about that. We certainly didn't have to bid for it. We came in towards the tail of the process. I understand that the Sharks had a number of other corporates that were interested. We quite close to a number of the individuals within the Sharks, and a lot of us within Micromega are Natal chaps. So we were quite fortunate when it got down to the wire that they spoke to us charmingly, and we were pleased to secure it.
Well, I think it helps too that the Sharks are top of the Super 15, Super 16, whatever it is now. Too many teams in that competition. That's super log. Hassan, SAFA, you mentioned you'd like to see South Africa win the World Cup, Bafana. Of course, we're not at Brazil. SAFA has had some reputation issues. Obviously, you're getting in where it's needed, not at the national level, but at the national level, at junior levels, if I might put it like that. So what's the deal here? I mean, you get less television coverage, for example, for the smaller tournaments than you would for the national team.
Yeah, look, the deal here is very simple. You know, we've very quickly put together 3 million rand to sponsor these 3 tournaments. And now we're going to go and focus on developing these teams at grassroots. I mean, Danny Jordan makes a very, very vital statement here, or when he says, you know, if you take a helicopter and you fly over Gauteng, when you see green fields and buses and beautiful school buildings, they either play rugby or cricket there. When you see desolate fields, no buses, broken windows in schools, that's when you know it's soccer being played there. And I think it's time that this country becomes aware of the need to change that. And we've kick-started that. So our product will also benefit from it. People will start to see that we're not there just to market Burger King or Grand Parade investments just to showcase ourselves. We're there to help. We are part of a changing South Africa. And I think it's incumbent on us to start to look at that. Football is the biggest religion in this country, if I may say so, without upsetting a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the World Cup, 4.5 billion people are going to watch the World Cup in Brazil. You show me any other event where that is being, which can show that sort of numbers.
Well,
10 million viewers watch Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates here.
Yeah.
There's no other coverage that gives you that sort of numbers.
I think when it comes to sport in South Africa, there are different faiths, if you like, but soccer clearly the majority game. But Greg, one of the things with rugby and cricket and soccer, the big sports, is that there's clutter, sponsorship clutter. Mm-hmm. You've got to get your time on TV. And we see those boards behind the guys when they get the prizes. There's all that stuff. It's beginning to look like racing cars, you know, with so many brands that you actually need to stand up above that herd. How do you do that?
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right in saying that. We were quite particular about our sponsorship in the sense that we wanted jersey branding. We felt that's where we would get the most amount of mileage. Yes, the boards do help, but the boards are really there for the spectator of the stadium. That's where you're going to dominate your return. Yes, the ticker tapes at the back work very well, as we see. The electronic boards work very well because they have attract the eye on television, and one can participate in those as well. That's not part of the sponsorship. That's outside the sponsorship deals on most stadiums in South Africa. Yeah. So yes, we certainly didn't want to be passive sponsors. We wanted our brand to get out there. This was all about launching the Micromega brand after 13 years of being off the radar as a corporate, given our history that was being discussed on this show in the past. And this was about launching Micromega and positioning Micromega as an organization larger than Dave King and Greg Morris. It was about demonstrating to the market at large that we're an organization employing a lot of people. We have 3 strong businesses down in Natal. And we believe we were achieving that very nicely.